Oh, hi. Hi, John Fugelsang. How are you? Hi. Happy 10-year.
Greetings from the New York City Bureau. Mooks, how y'all doing?
Good.
One of my other favorite pictures is us. I don't know. I think we're at a meet and greet, but we're like nose to nose, and we look just like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga right before they looked at we're just about to kiss. It's just that moment.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Okay. Do I even know? I don't know if I have that one. I put like 300 pictures into that file, you know.
I know. Thank you.
I emptied it out.
Thank you. Oh my God, so excited about the big show tomorrow night. Some fantastic new material. We have some old vintage material that I haven't even seen yet. We have every celebrity in the world, including Rosie O'Donnell, who we finally bagged after 10 years for the big celebrity interview. And everybody that's ever done it, pretty much, from Pelosi to Schiff to you name it, to Martin Sheen to Lily Tomlin. I can't. Rob Reiner, you name it, on and on. It's going to be a par and then a tay, correct?
I'm so excited. It's going to be a really, really fun show. And I'm playing at different times. I'm playing Ted Cruz and Matt Gaetz and Tucker Carlson and Andrew Cuomo. So, and Jared. So, yeah.
There's new Matt Gaetz news, so you may have to go and start taping something new right now.
Yes.
Oh, God.
By the way, if you're a Matt Gaetz aide who quits for ethical reasons, what was it that made you work for Matt Gaetz in the first place?
Yeah. I love that. Out of principle, sure. John, Venmo, and what emojis do you use? We've been it's girl and a dollar and I don't know, eggplant, airplane, eggplant.
You know, even when the Pharisees paid Judas 30 pieces of silver in Venmo, they knew to make their phrase "hit up Jesus" private. They knew to make it private, not public.
Right.
Silver for regarding Jesus.
Oh, it's just this is a beautiful thing every day. Whether you believe in a God or not, every day thank him or her for the fact that our fascists are so dumb. That is the greatest gift America has ever been given, that their stupid is always greater than their sinister. I call them dim shady. Whether it's George Bush, whether it's Trump, whether it's Matt Gaetz, Rand Paul, all of them, because they're so driven by greed, their stupid is always greater than their evil. And that's saying quite a bit. And that keeps comedy alive.
Can I just say I've enjoyed you bitch slapping people over voter suppression all week on Twitter because, Brian Kemp is like, Georgia has 17 days of early voting. Colorado has 15. When it comes to cancel culture, facts don't matter. And you said that's because 94% of Colorado voters vote by mail. Brian Kemp needs you to be gullible. There is no voter fraud problem in Georgia. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's just here's the problem with being a liberal, right? Besides, you know, having better sex and better taste and better music, the problem is it takes a lot longer to decode a lie than to spread a lie. So I've just been asking them questions when they call my Sirius XM show. I'm like, how does cutting the window to request voter ballots fight voter fraud? How does cutting the number of absentee ballot drop boxes in Metro Atlanta, inner city, from 94 to 23 fight voter fraud?
Yeah.
Right? How does removing the Secretary of State who told the truth from the state election board fight voter fraud?
Yeah, you did this all on Twitter. Right. How does banning mobile voting centers fight voter fraud? How does giving the GOP state legislature the power to toss Blue County's election results fight voter fraud? How does it making it a misdemeanor to give water to voters in very long lines voter fraud? I mean, it's just, you're right. And John, if we had a real media, they should be asked every single one of those questions on every single appearance. Every one of these Republicans that are for this. How does this
stop chasing? They're never going to stop chasing the Fox News demographic. They're never going to stop thinking if we play this game and give credence to their lies, that it'll make the viewers like us more. It doesn't work that way. And, you know, like this law, if the Democrats hadn't won the presidency in Georgia and both Senate seats, this law wouldn't have passed. They counted the votes 3 times in Georgia. This is happening for 3 reasons. Brian Kemp is running for re-election next year. Brian Kemp is terrified of Stacey Abrams, and Raphael Warnock is also running for re-election next year. Those are the 3 reasons why this law passed.
Yep. And Sean Spicer also chimed in, and you said Colorado actually has 16 different acceptable forms of voter ID, not just this list. And Sean Spicer is no longer paid via your taxes to lie about stuff. So presumably he's doing it for free now, which is...
Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't think Sean's book sold that many copies. Turned out there's
Right.
not a lot of people out there who love Sean Spicer, period, and who hate Donald Trump. I mean, you know, compared to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the guy's Gandhi. But I mean, God, these miscreants.
You know, I saved Bible Talk with Lauren Boebert for you, John, my ecclesiastical mook. Yes, could we have cut 12 for my personal comedy, Jesus? Go ahead.
Don't be distracted by what you are seeing in the natural. There is certainly things that are going on in the unseen that God is doing. God is working. He is always moving. And so just not to give up hope. Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So don't get distracted by everything that you're seeing on the outside. I believe that we are taking ground in the spirit realm.
Okay, so they're not winning really politically or morally in this realm, John, but in the spirit realm, they're kicking our ass.
You know, they'll never ever quote Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. They'll never quote Jesus. Never. You will never. They'll never try to put the Beatitudes on a courthouse wall. Just the sermon on them. Just the Ten Commandments. Listen, I don't want to say anything bad about Lady Blah Blah, but these are the people who stood by and cheered when their president promised to turn away war refugees. These are the people who stood by and cheered when their president and his imbecile son-in-law literally covered up a murder. You know, these anti-abortion people talking about dismembering fetuses. Yeah, the prince dismembered an American journalist who worked for the Washington Post, and y'all didn't care. Jesus is not their savior. Jesus is their mascot, and they drag him out to use him to make themselves appear more virtuous. And this week with Mitch McConnell going after corporations, I was like, oh my God, first you turned your back on Jesus, now you're turning your back on the golden calf.
Yes, she was on a show where she was asked what Christians need to be doing to see America turn back to God while an illegitimate president sits in the White House and enacts a left agenda. Okay, here she is. Just wait. Okay, here we go.
We will see that come to light. It has to take place there before we actually see it here in the natural. And God has a great plan for America. And anyone who is involved in that right now, I just believe is involved in the very plan of God working in our country. He has declared a blessing over our country, and he is faithful. He is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. And he has a plan for our nation that is great and wonderful and prosperous.
Is she sort of like Miss Teen South Carolina meets also too? In addition, U.S. Americans need a map back to God because
if they're allowed to clone Sarah Palin, why can't we clone Stacey Abrams? I only want 49 Stacey Abrams clones. I mean, if they can clone Palin, this man. Look, just ask any right-wing Christian. Just ask them. Name one teaching of Jesus that Trump ever fought for.
Yeah.
Criminalizing abortion rights has got nothing to do with what the Jewish carpenter talked about. All right. And these people have to do all this because I mean, the arrogance, you know, you might not know this, Lauren Boebert, the word America doesn't actually appear in the Bible, and neither does the English language. It's
right.
But the only way they can get elected is by going after people whose concept of the Bible is you take the manger scene where he's born and the crucifix where he's died, you cut out everything he says in between, and you fill it with a Left Behind book.
Yeah.
And that's the Lauren Boebert Bible.
And we just talked to Dr. Redlener, John. We just got off with him, and I keep being struck as a former Catholic girl that the Pope said this week, it is your moral responsibility to get vaccinated. And I just thought it is amazing how these Christians, I mean, they're one of the largest groups saying they're not going to get vaccinated. It is amazing how they pick and choose what religion or the Pope or whoever says, right? I absolutely agree with him. It is your moral responsibility.
The Pope's a scientist, you know, this Pope is a scientist. He's never been anti-science. But, you know, I mean, she talks about these leftists. Being a leftist is sort of what got Jesus killed by the conservative religious bosses of his day. And the real culprit here is the media, because the media kept telling me about how Black folks weren't going to get the vaccine. African Americans were going to be the ones with vaccine hesitancy. And poll after poll after poll, no, it's not Black folks. It's harder for them to get it in many areas. But no, it's white conservative Republican men and women.
Yeah.
They are the ones who are slowing the rest of us down. like in every other aspect of society, the Confederacy is keeping us from entering the 21st century.
Now, as someone that won, I believe, an award, I forget what kind it is for sexy, what are they called, for Sexy Liberal Virtual Tour, John Fugelsang's leg acting as Jerry Falwell Jr., because just his legs with his pants around his ankles and various tissues and bottles around his legs.
Lotion.
Okay, if you go back and look at the old Jerry Falwell sketch, you'll see what I mean. But so he just did a vaccine thing that I got vaccinated, and, you know, you should get vaccinated before our idiot governor, it puts more restrictions on us. I'm like, fine, I'll take it. Whatever reason you have to encourage Christians to get vaccinated.
Everyone out there who still follows the advice of Jerry Falwell Jr. will go get their shot now. So, one line, folks, one line. Yeah. I mean, look, I'll take what I can get. And it's still very early in the game, but, you know, either you care about other people or you don't. Either you're either the me, or the we. And this is the struggle America's always had. And you know, these guys have run out of everything. They're terrified. We have to remember that. All these voter laws, all of this, it's because the fascists are terrified. They know that when more people vote, they're out of jobs, and they have nothing to offer the American people except stolen merchandise, right? Like Hillary Clinton's emails, Hunter Biden's Supreme Court seat, Merrick Garland's Supreme Court seat, Hunter Biden's private images. This Republican Party has a lot of fun with other people's stolen merchandise. But, you know, there's too many good people out there fighting. I'm so thrilled about this 10-year special, Stephanie. The amount of good people over the years in the audience at these tours. The greatest thing about these tours is, you know, when this first started, you remember I pitched it to you. I was like, it'll be like the blue comedy tour, blue collar tour for smart people. But over the years, like in so many pockets of this country, I've always said there's folks afraid to have an Obama sticker on their car when they go to their job or their church. And to be in a room full of so many people, thousands of people who, like, there's no cretins, like they all get it. And the joy of being surrounded by people when it can be very lonely to be the smart, moral person in your county. That's been the real draw for me.
And had I known how many right-wingers were going to find unfortunate pictures of me from Sexy Liberal and post them and go, oh, really? This is sexy?
Yeah, no, your Supreme Court seat will never get filled. No, there's so many photos of you defiling yourself on stage.
I should have known that, first of all, as we've always said, John, it was a joke. We weren't referring to ourselves. We were referring to the audience, that it's sexy to be liberal, right? It's sexy means you're open-minded and empathetic. And also we wanted to take that word back from the right wing. Remember, they made it a dirty word, and we're taking that word back, and we're making it dirty in a fun way, in a sexy way.
I played the role of tour. That's what I always just say about the name of it. But and it's so great that everyone's coming back. And God, I think back to the first time we did any of these shows was in Manhattan in 2010. But the tour began 10 years ago next week, and it's just so incredible this is happening. I'm so sorry about Ann Beats, Steph. I thought of you right away.
Well, I thought of you. This has been a tough week. Midwin Charles was on your Sirius XM show a lot. I didn't know her, but I just thought she was fabulous, and she passed away this week at 47. Ann Beats was one of the original head writers of Saturday Night Live, and she was my executive producer for my late night show. I just heard during the last commercial break that she had passed away, and so it's God, John, this year has been just heartbreaking between COVID and all of the people we've lost from various things, right? I mean, I got to tell you, I know this is going to sound hokey, I have come back to really a place of gratitude. As hard as this has been for me personally, just everything. My mom being single and locked down for this last year, a lot of people dealing with loneliness. But I got to say, it has made me so grateful, and this show has made me so grateful for all of you. You guys are so brilliant in this virtual format, and I know we'll see in the show how brilliant you all are on stage, and it's just the people that we've been so lucky, right, to do this show with us, whether it's celebrity panel or as a comedians. It's just but you know me, I would whine sometimes about I got tired about touring. I can't wait to tour again. We all can't wait to get back out there again, right? I mean, it's
gratitude is the only way to get through this time, and Midwin is a person who was born in Brooklyn, Haitian American, and she went to law school, and she used her considerable power and her intellect and her beauty and her strength for the least of us. She used it for marginalized people and oppressed people and people who are downtrodden by the system. She devoted her talents to it. Midwin was my most frequent guest on my show since we launched 6 years ago. She was a guest more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire pandemic, she was with me every Wednesday night. And I first met her in the green rooms doing Wendy Williams and CNN and MSNBC. It's a terrible loss for me and for everyone who loved her. But the best thing we can do is to just keep on fighting, keep on having gratitude that we're all still here.
Yeah.
Get people to vote in 2022.
Yeah.
Like, get people to vote.
And
that's what this is all about right now.
And can I say, Ann Beatz was just as brilliant and hilarious in person as you would think she was, and just had the greatest stories of. I mean, she was, one of the original women too, like warriors, head writers on SNL in the 70s. I mean, she really was a force of nature. So that just sad news. But let's do it all for them. Let's keep on keeping on, right? You are one of the funniest, speaking of funniest, fiercest progressive warriors out there, John Fugelsang. My honor, Sir John.
No.
Yes. I'll see you tomorrow.
You're speaking to me after my Ted Cruz at the border video.
Oh, yes, we will.
Right.
Or I presented Matt Gaetz in the first episode of his brand new podcast, recorded in prison, and then Tucker Carlson is doing an ad for his new online class, which is how to pull focus from other people and win debates with no facts by using Tucker Carlson's baffled bitch face. So these are just some.
Sexy liberals, assemble! We have a lot to celebrate.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls off.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was going to have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial, but I'm in now.